Welcome to the Be Battle Ready podcast, where we take a deep dive into what it takes to be battle ready in your lifestyle so that you can go to war on your life and the marketplace and win.
Well, welcome to the Be Battle Ready podcast. This is episode number 35 and a repeat guest.
No. It's episode 4,392.
I know, right? Well, yeah. So, what I want to do is, what does it take to be battle? We want to talk about, this is a new series with probably COVID or crisis round 2 is coming, and who knows how everything is going since this year has started off to a crazy start. I wanted to do a live series on Facebook and other platforms, and then we'll be publishing this on our episode. But want to dive in today with Faith Sage. Awesome funnel builder. So, and we're going to dive into kind of like what it takes to get your funnel battle ready and kind of have that. What I do all the time is let the guests introduce themselves because they do a better job than me. So welcome.
Hey, so like you already said, I'm Faith Sage and I just love to build funnels. So that's all I got. Like, I just like to dive in and build funnels. I can get lost for days in funnels.
Yeah. You were going to be the funnel doctor at one point, or the funnel scientist.
The funnel whisperer.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, I think I purchased the domain after that, but I never actually got it up and running. I just went in a million different directions after that. So it's just like.
Well, tell us a little bit about your journey, how you got started into funnel building and to where you're at today. And, obviously we connected earlier last year about some of the journey for 2020 that has been interesting.
Crazy ride of 2020. I love it though. You know what? It's been definitely an interesting year to say the least. But I got into funnel building a couple years ago. I mean, I was going to college. I went to college and became a pastry chef. And I got out in there and I had not my first job, but one of the jobs was working for a country club. So real high end, high scale. And I was able to get all the ingredients that I wanted. Didn't matter the cost. It didn't matter anything. They were just excited to have a pastry chef on the team. So the only catch is the pastry chef is below the head chef. And me and the head chef didn't get along. I don't know. I'm just this warm and fuzzy person. I don't know who.
But you wanted to be the head chef in charge, right? Is that it?
No.
Oh, no.
No, I didn't. I just wanted him to leave me alone and let me do my stuff. But he just wouldn't do it. He kept causing a lot of conflict. And he had kind of some moral issues with being a head chef and things I didn't agree with, and I would call him out on stuff, and he did not like that. So I went home and I put my notice in, and I went home and I started looking for online jobs that weren't a scam, and I ran across copywriting, and that was what took me way down the rabbit hole. And then it was building landing pages and websites and then sales pages.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, you'll probably tell us why copywriting was a good start. Right.
Oh man.
A good foundational skill, because a lot of people think they just install this tool, funnel, whatever it might be, chatbot, whatever, put up a website, and it's, how did copywriting really, help you out building a good foundation?
So for copywriting, if people don't know, copywriting is actually all the words on the page. It's just like your online salesperson. You're taking the sales process and you're streamlining it specifically for an online purpose. So the sales process a lot of people link it to dating, and that's such a great reference because you have to meet the person, you have to catch their attention first, you have to go through the motions of all of it. So you catch their attention, you align with them, oh yeah, I love baseball too, whatever. And then you go through and then you get married and you have, all these things. And if you skip any of those steps, your relationship's not going to work and neither will your funnel. So
Yeah.
you can't just say catch their attention, then head straight to the bedroom. It don't work. Like, I mean, in some cases it does, but you have to add a lot of alcohol. But we're not going to talk about alcohol. It's just, it doesn't work. So with copywriting,
Sometimes
it
you can
teaches
hit a
you
home
how
run.
to what?
Sometimes like there's the funnel, you just hit a home run, you don't know why. Right?
Right. Absolutely. Too much alcohol involved.
Yeah.
So, but that's why, I mean, copywriting is just, it's very fundamental to sales.
Yeah. So kind of like a couple of frames I want to stay within today is obviously we don't know, like this year has been bad. Like you cannot predict anything this year, right? Like the plans, the outlook that you thought would have, and we can dive into that, like of your experience, but also like looking forward, how do we prepare ourselves? How do we become what I consider battle ready? And to do that, there's a frame that 4 pillars that fall within that. Purpose, right? And purpose is, on a macro scale, like why are you doing this? Like how is it really, from how's it serving you? How does it serve the business? How does it serve the customer? Plan, obviously creating a plan to get there. The playbook, which is actually the strategies and tactics that fall within that. And then your platoon, which is your team. So we'll kind of dive into those 4 pillars.
Okay.
But let's kind of go back to like, how how this year has been for you. And like you set up a plan, you had a purpose for this year, right? And like, and the pivots and the things that you've done, right? Talk to us a little about that.
Sure. So coming into this year, I had a big grand plan. I'm going to make $1 million. I'm going to do this X, Y, Z, all these things. And then COVID hits. And then, but you know what, honestly, for a digital marketer and having COVID hit, if your stuff is set up right, like if you have your battle ready plan, like your stuff is going to be amazing because guess what? Nobody can go visit people. So the in-person sales is suffering right now, like tremendously.
Yeah.
So for me, it has been accelerating my growth this year with all the COVID stuff that's hitting. So that's maybe not the best. I don't know.
Yeah. So, I mean, have you had to have any pivots or you have any of those things? Like what have been some pivots? Like you thought you were going to go this way and you had to switch over here and kind of,
well, honestly, I thought that I was going to make my $1 million just building funnels for other people. Like, honestly, I just thought that that's what it was going to be. And don't get me wrong. People pay me thousands of dollars to build funnels for them that scale and convert. Like they do. But I feel like now I'm pivoting now, especially with the stuff that's happening with my son. And I'm like going on a journey for an 8-week course.
Okay.
That is going to be my major pivot, just because not necessarily just of COVID happening and the craziness of 2020, but just because within my family dynamics, that's what I need to do and where I'm called to do.
Yeah. I mean, if obviously everybody knows what's happened, in the world and
right?
in Minneapolis, which you're really close to. So you had a little bit of ground zero there.
Right.
But also on top of that, your son, 6 to 8 weeks ago, had a brain tumor removed.
Correct.
Yeah. So there's been those pivots, and that's interesting that you're moving to a course. And there's a deep purpose inside of that because you have to be with your family and stuff. So.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been an interesting journey. As far as for that one, like the last 6 to 8 weeks has been kind of a blur. It just with all the things that are happening, everything that's just coming at me so fast, and being able to take all of that in and still transition and build my business as I want my business, not as what other people would dictate my business should be, but what feels right and comfortable for me. And I think that's a big thing coming into, like you were talking about earlier about, the second wave maybe, or what's happening with the second half of 2020. So like if you're not in a line with where your business is heading, you still have to pivot. It doesn't matter what's happening in the world, but you have to be good with where your business is at and what your business is doing and the trajectory that it is on as well. Because let me tell you, if you scale something that's broken and you scale something that ain't good, it's going to be 50 million times worse. Like, it's just going to suck.
Yeah. So I would assume that, if you're going to build a funnel, you're going to have to start with somewhere, with a purpose behind it, right? Like you've got to have that behind it. And if step back, because there might be people on here that don't understand what a funnel is, and that's okay. It's basically just a micro website that takes you through a process of converting somebody from a lead into an actual customer. So
correct.
Very simple.
It's the customer journey. You're taking the customer on a journey from not knowing who you are, or maybe knowing you are. This is where it comes in. You have to know and understand what your funnel is going to be about, the core purpose of your funnel, whether it's just to gather emails, whether it's to make a sale, whether it's to get people to go to join your Facebook group, whatever it is, whatever that purpose is, you're taking people from here to actually getting them to what you want them to do.
Yeah. So, if we're looking forward, like what are some key aspects you can share with us about, how to plan your funnel launch or your funnel, making sure it's a successful funnel and making sure it's ready?
Well, against popular opinion, you have to know who you're targeting. So you have to understand the pain points. So the funnel build is actually the last component of anything. You're actually building that last. The first thing you need to do is you need to understand your target audience, who they are, what's keeping them up at night, what fears are they facing, what is the conversation going on in their head already that you can tap into. Like, what are they actually deeply thinking about, so that you're not introducing a brand new idea, a brand new conversation out there. You're just tapping into the one they're already having. That will set your funnel up, like, from the beginning.
Yep. Cool. And then, let's tell us what else, like, what are some other aspects of, we have the kind of conversation, like, what are some other key aspects that are going to make a successful funnel?
You have to keep it interesting. You have to follow a flow. So obviously this depends upon what the ultimate goal is for the funnel, as to how you're going to take them on that journey.
Okay.
So what's going to be next? So if you're going to say you're just going to collect opt-ins, you need to give them a reason why they want to get whatever it is that you're giving away for free. You have to give them a reason why. Otherwise, you could have the best ebook or PDF or whatever it is in the world, but if people don't know it and people never see it, people will never understand how amazing it is. So you have to have that catchy little title, again, tapping into the thoughts already into their head and set them on the path to go through your, what they call, value ladder.
Yeah.
So you have to, there's multiple components to it.
Okay. And, I would assume, like, actually getting into some market research would be a good, like, part of your plan, a part of your, if you're going to make a launch, is really getting it and talking to some people that are, that are your target audience.
Absolutely. Yeah. Pull your pull your audience, pull your target audience. And the second thing, the second number one thing, because there's two number one things. The second number one thing, hire a copywriter to write the words on your page. Don't just think that you'll be able to do it, because a lot of people fail in that area and then they wonder why. Because for one thing, they're too close to the problem. They're too close to everything on that page and they don't subjectively see it, and they're not taking themselves away from it. So
yeah, I've, obviously coaching and then being coached. It's kind of like frustrating, because you're like, why can't I see this? And it's like, You're just too close from it. But it's so much easier to sit back and look at somebody and take in the information that they're saying. And then, just basically you're mirroring it back to them and hearing what they're saying. I was working with somebody, we're working with somebody currently, he's wanting to help people out with depression. Right. And obviously that's a touchy subject, because there's regulations around that. And then it's like, look, you just need to explain the problem, and that's it. Like, just speak to the problem, speak to the patterns, and that'll help you like actually, you know, get into that conversation. It's already happened in your head. Right. And, you know, but then I say, okay, let me do it for myself. And it's just like, you know what I mean? It's like you're too close to it. So
put up all your roadblocks and you're like, oh, but what about this? But, oh my gosh, but they just don't understand this part. Like, they just don't get me. I'm way different than everyone else.
So what have you, like, you know, you don't really dive too much into ad cost, right? And ads and stuff like that.
No.
With that, you know, has there been some areas and words and wording that you cannot use that you've had to, like, you've seen not work because of, you know, certain regulations from Facebook and from other advertising platforms, and that you've had to become creative? What's happened there?
So, like, again, going back to like what your purpose is for your funnel. So if there's a few things you need to figure out with your funnel. First, you're going to figure out, why do you need a funnel? What is your purpose to have a funnel? Is it to boost your bottom line? Is it to get more people on your email list? Is it to, you know, whatever that part is? The second portion of that as well is, are you eventually going to be running paid traffic to that funnel? If you're going to be running paid traffic to that funnel, then there's certain words you cannot use. If you're going to do it completely organic, then you can put whatever you want on the page. But if you're going to be running traffic to it, which a lot of people do, then you got to stay away from phrases like make money, or like any of those money-making ones. So like, you're going to guarantee them a result. You can't guarantee anyone a result, because first of all, I don't know why you would want to, because you don't know what they're coming at the funnel with. Like, you don't know what they're bringing to the table. Like, are they going to be 100% in, or are they just like dipping a toe? Like, you don't know where they're at in their process.
What about with the whole COVID situation? Like, were they shutting down because of using COVID, or were they, you know, were you seeing problems with that?
What do you mean?
With using the word COVID during, you know, with Facebook and kind of.
No, I don't think so.
And there's a lot of people, like, obviously, or like people putting up certain wording and stuff like that, and getting posts like kind of deleted by Facebook the algorithm or whatever it is.
Well, I think Facebook is just cracked out anyway. They just delete people because they want to delete people. Like, there's just no rhyme or reason. Like, I know several people in my mastermind that I'm in that have had their Facebook account shut down, like just shut down for no reason. Like, they weren't posting about COVID. They weren't posting anything that was against the regulations. They weren't posting anything to make guarantees or anything like that. They weren't doing anything, but Facebook just shut them down.
And this was
didn't matter.
Running traffic and things like
they
that.
Can't. Nope, they can't do any of that. They can't run traffic. Some people can't even get on Facebook. Like, they can't post on Facebook. They can see everything that's going, but they can't post on Facebook. They can't run traffic. They can't do anything. And that really hurts when you're a social media manager, because then you can't do your job. You have to find an alternate way to do your job.
Yeah. So and were they running traffic and then they got shut down, or was it?
They were running traffic for their clients.
Oh, wow.
But they were all within Facebook compliance, because they know the Facebook regulations, whatever, and they just shut them down. They wouldn't give them a reason. They wouldn't do anything. They just said, you're out of compliance. But like, what part of the compliance? Like, where am I out of compliance? I don't know. You're just out of compliance. It's like, what? How stupid.
I sent you I remember I was sending you a funnel that was like, kept saying it's a bad landing page, and, you know, and no explanation, you know, nothing. And the thing that was happening, it was that the domain was being masked, or it was a domain setting. And and so we had to turn that off to allow and then they allowed that.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, they're so finicky. And it's like so crazy. And then some of the stuff you see on there, you're like, how the frick did this get on here? Like, why is this on here? Like, hello? But whatever.
Yeah. Well, cool. So what do you, how are you preparing right now for, I mean, you got the course. What else? I know that you guys were launching a mastermind and doing some other things. Like, How is that? What is that looking like for the rest of the year?
So there's going to be a book. Don't tell anyone.
No.
So I'm going to be writing a book. I've got the process started, so the outline is there. I'm not sure if it'll be done this year or next year. Depends on how much time I can get allotted to it. But so I'm in the process of writing that out right now. I got multiple books I'm going to be writing, but focusing on one specifically this year. So I got the course coming up, and there's a few other things coming up that I can't chat about at this time.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
So like let's step back and ask some specific questions about COVID. How do you see the second round of COVID like affecting your industry and clients like moving forward? Like,
I think that for my industry, it'll boom because it's the online industry. What I'm hoping will happen is that the shady, shisty, crappy ones will get pushed out of the way, and that the people who are actually doing good will get boosted up to help people with their digital marketing and stuff like that. So I believe that every business, no matter what it is, if it's online or offline, especially if it's offline, could have a digital component online and kind of like safeguard their business a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, one thing, since you focused on actually promoting the business, like what you do can actually get more leads, get more customers for businesses, especially for offline businesses. I mean, even Facebook's putting out, they announced they're going to focus more on local businesses and things like that. We'll see how well they execute. I mean, we actually are in that kind of space where we're selling product locally on Facebook Marketplace and things like that.
Gotcha.
But we saw a lot of restaurants go to, having to do online ordering and where, it could streamline the process for a lot of like local service-based businesses, right? From lawn care to, plumbers to, local companies that are usually stuck in that I'm going to call you, come by your house and go to that place to making it more efficient and implementing those tools.
Absolutely. I think that so for restaurants, take restaurants, for example, I think that a lot of businesses are going to have to think outside the box. Like they're not going to be able to, buy a gift card and stock up, because people are only going to buy so many gift cards and stock up for future use, right? Because who knows when they're going to be allowed to eat back in a restaurant, say this one here. Nobody expected to be not sitting in a restaurant for like 3 months, 3.5 months, 4 months, however long it was, some longer, some shorter. No one expected that. Yeah. No one expected anything, the world to just shut down. And I think that all these online businesses have to take a step back and think, okay, how can I position my business so it's different? So for, say, instance, a restaurant could maybe market, okay, let's do date night in a box, take out date night, whatever. Like as a different marketing technique, Sunday brunch day, go grab your brunch from here. But a lot of them are just only doing like gift cards and sign up for this and do that. And it's going to hurt them more in the long run, because people are not, what they're doing is they're front loading, but then when they get it, it's going to actually cost them more when it gets down the road.
Yeah. I mean, with it, it's an interesting, if they know that it's coming, right? Especially like restaurants, and you're dealing with like one of these delivery companies that are taking a percentage of the sale and all that stuff. If you know that you go from maybe 10% of your sales being from those apps to, 80, 90% of that, you could actually, and then have the marketing in place and the tools in place to do that. Cause it's nowadays that's going to be so easy to do. You could literally put your own staff and say, well, am I going to spend 25% of the meal to actually deliver this if I staff it up, right? Mm-hmm. And I convert my staff into drivers and to delivery people.
Correct. Absolutely.
Pivot could, keep you in business, right? So,
right. And I definitely think they should have like planned it out. Like if they believe that a second wave is coming, which everyone's purporting it's going to be, who knows if it's going to happen? I don't know. The weather changes all the time. I believe that their ideas and stuff change all the time too. So who knows? I don't know. But if it does happen and you want to be prepared for it, you should probably make sure that your marketing is split, at least have a good portion of it. So you have a solid marketing plan for in-person and a solid marketing plan for online. Like that way you can just go into effect, go into emotion, and then you don't have to stress over it. That's what a lot of them are, is like, oh, I'll learn social media soon. I'll get it online eventually. I'll do all this. Well, now when COVID hit, they're like, oh shit, I don't have anything ready. Like, what am I going to do? I like have no income now. Like,
yeah.
And it's very scary. Like that would be crazy.
It's nothing.
There's nothing you can do. Like you can't like bring people in there. I know up here in Minnesota, some restaurants were like, I'm going to open anyway. It's just going to happen before that the governor opened them. And they were getting calls from the higher up saying, no, you will shut your doors or I will charge you $25,000 per store or per restaurant that's open. So wow. Well, shit, I can't afford that. Okay, we're going to shut our doors, So it's like, what are you going to do?
Yeah. Well, awesome.
Ghostbusters. No.
Yeah. So, you've got this course coming up. You've got some other things coming up. How can people get a hold of you?
Oh, go to faithsage.net. Super simple.
Awesome.
Plus, I'm on every social media besides TikTok. I haven't gotten there yet, but.
No?
Yeah, no, eventually. It's on my bucket list.
Are you just waiting to perfect your Renegade or what?
Apparently.
Yeah. Whatever that is.
Right.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Liz, I appreciate having you on, and we'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
This concludes another episode of the Be Battle Ready podcast. If you're looking to put it all together across all the areas of your life and be battle ready, come get connected with powerful leaders in our Be Battle Ready Facebook group, where we will be dropping new battles to win each day.